Everyone, this is Jane with Barlow Herbal, and today is Sunday, March 6th. It's a beautiful day here in Utah, and I can tell that it's going to even be a more beautiful day as the day goes on. It's a little bit chilly, a little bit cloudy, but it's just such a beautiful day here. And I plan on getting outside, and I'm meeting up with a friend for brunch today, and then I plan on going and spending some time this afternoon just connecting with Mother Nature and being out in the elements, whatever they may bring. So I hope the same for you wherever you are, that you're able to get outside and just appreciate the sheer beauty of being a human and all of the senses that it gives us to feel the air, breathe the fresh air, walk on the soil, go sit somewhere beautiful. And it doesn't matter what time of year it is or how the scenery around you looks, you can always find beauty in it. And I think it's just a matter of putting your focus on what is really beautiful. So today I have a really good message. I think that every Sunday that I pop on here and I say, oh, I have a really great message for you, I feel like every message seems to really accumulate during the week. And as I'm thinking about what I want to just kind of bring to you, uh, they all kind of come into this nice little uh, package of information that I feel like is really relevant. Now, the main message for today is that now is the time. And this can go for several different things. And so the very first piece of this is that now is the time to prepare. And this goes for a whole list of things. It's time to prepare to make sure your health is in line. It's time to prepare to make sure that your finances are in line. It's time to prepare to make sure that your relationships are in line and strong, and your community. I think that we're, not to be a doomsayer at all, but I do think that we're in for a couple more years of some tough stuff. But I think that we can make it less, not only scary or uncomfortable or, it's always hard to think about the unknown, but to make it less of an unknown is preparation. And now is the time to prepare. So if you've been putting things off, it's like saying I should have planted a tree 5 years ago. Well, okay, that's true. But you can still plant a tree today. And 5 years from now, 1 year from now, it's going to be an amazing thing for you to have something that you've started that you can actually start putting into place. And, not only that, when you start to really prepare, you're going to sleep better, you're going to have lower stress, and your health is going to improve just because you have that peace of mind knowing that you're preparing. So I think that this is something that's really, really important to sit down and make a list. Make a list of what are the areas that I need to start being prepared in. And a couple of videos back, I posted one with Dr. Nielsen, and we talked about, I think it's the one about a daily dose of common sense, where he talks about playing a preparedness game with his kids, where it's like, okay, what happens if we have 10 minutes to leave the house and we need to be gone for 3 days? What do they need? And so they've made a game out of it, but now it's not only something that their kids aren't going to be freaked out about, but if a situation like that does happen, they're not going to panic because, first of all, they're prepared, first of all. And I think as parents, that is the part where it can give you a serious peace of mind when you have something as simple as a grab and go bag. And that's something that I have, and I've had it for a while. My biggest challenge with that is to keep some of the things that are edible, keep them rotated, because I don't want to, pick up a bag that maybe has 2-year-old granola bars in it or whatever it is that needs to be in there that needs to be rotated. Most stuff in there does not need to be rotated, but that is just one small piece of the puzzle. And this could even be in the event of a natural disaster where you're just being prepared for that. Now, I think even in a bigger sense, I think it's really, really important to prepare yourself financially. This is something that I was really never taught about finances when I was growing up. It was just something, we weren't really ignorant about it. And my parents would teach us by giving us allowance. And I did a lot of babysitting when I was a teenager. And so I had money, but I was really never taught how to manage money or how to make money work for me or how to stay out of debt. For most of my 20s and 30s, I carried some pretty high credit card debt. And it took a while for that to click in where I really understood, oh, okay, I might have instant gratification with putting this new furniture set on credit, but then I pay the price for a lot longer and my money is not working for me. So, this is probably a whole other topic, but I think right now it's really, really important that you really pay attention to your finances. Really, how many times did I say that in the last sentence, right? Like really, really, really. Now, another thing that, and this might sound maybe a little crazy, but I think that with what the world looks like, and if you're paying attention and you're staying informed, that it's a really good idea to keep cash flowing. And there's a little kind of movement that's been going around for the last few years, and it kind of seems like it's really getting a little bit more attention, is something like Cash Only Friday. So if you're a person who's just always using your credit card, you're always using your debit card, you're just always, because it's so convenient and you really don't carry cash, I think right now in the climate that we're in, especially if you watch what happened in Canada with the government's ability to freeze the bank accounts of people who donated to the Freedom Convoy, um, that is a real thing. And I think that if we can keep cash moving, I really kind of never expected this to go there, but I really think it's important that we are aware and that we stay informed so that we can make the proper decisions when it comes to something like that. So the goal really is to be informed so that as you walk through life, we're all each individually making a difference that not only affects us, but that it affects everyone around us, the collective. So to me, staying prepared is really important. Okay, so the next one is to me, this is like where the fun happens. Now is the time to be creative. So the very first big one, now is the time to be prepared and to stay prepared and make that just a constant part of your daily routine, your daily life, in your health, your finances, your relationships, all of those things. The second biggest piece is to get your creative juices flowing, because as human beings, this is one of the biggest gifts that each of us individually have, is the ability to create. Doesn't matter if it's art, if it's pottery, which is art, but I mean painting. It doesn't matter if it's whatever it might be, writing. Your art might be writing, your art might be making videos. Now is the time to really get your creative juices flowing. Now is not the time to be sucked into TV so that it just numbs you out. Because I think that is one of the things that I've actually caught myself doing that this past couple of years, and even before that, where it's just like I'm tired, I've had a long day, I just want to sit down and veg out and watch TV. And I think every once in a while that's okay. You certainly, can get a lot of just relaxation time, bonding with people that you're enjoying a movie with. I think that's very different, and that's not what I'm talking about. But if there is something creative that you have had this idea and wanting to put forward to the world, being creative is one of the best things that you can do to really just prove that you are a human being, and you are here for a purpose. And here's something else that I believe. If you have been given an idea, you have this idea that comes to you about something to create, and you hear this all the time, but you don't act on it. You just kind of go, oh, that's such a great idea, and I could totally do that. I just need to sit and work on it. And you don't ever do anything. A year goes by, 2 years goes by, 10 years goes by, and then what happens? Someone else does it. Someone else brings out that exact same thing that you had the idea about. And here's what I think is happening. The powers that be, God, creator, spirit, whatever you want to call it, needs this idea to come to fruition. This bit of art, this bit of writing, this bit of something that's beautiful for humanity, whatever it is, no matter how big or how small it is. And so they give you that idea. You get that idea. But what happens is you don't act on it. And I've been guilty of this too. I think this happens for every human. So what happens is after a certain amount of time, that idea is taken and given to another person who then acts upon it. So if you have an idea of something creative, I would say right now is the very best time for you to take that gift, that download, and put it out to the world. And you get to put your own spin on it. And what I think about art or whatever it is that's creative is I think we're always the most judgmental of what we create. My mom was an artist, and she always had all this art, these art supplies for us when we were growing up. We always had the ability to draw and paint and color, and there was always paper and pencils and crayons and paint. I mean, this was just something that we always had because my mom was such a brilliant artist, and it was just really important to her that because she knew that being creative fills this part of us that's human. So as a result, I have all of these siblings who are these amazing artists. And I mean, I'm telling you, I've always felt a tiny bit intimidated by some of the art that flows out of my siblings. And my biggest thing that I've always loved, and I never really considered it art, was photography. And I got my first camera for my 14th birthday. It was one of those little cameras that had a flash cube you would put on it. And of course I had the film in it. I would, put the cube on, I would take my picture, and it would last like 4 flashes if it was an inside shot. But I will tell you, that opened my creativity portal for taking photographs. And it's something that I've done over the years. I've taken photos of friends and their families, like year after year, for their Christmas photos or their yearly photos. I've photographed a few weddings, but I never looked at it as art or creative, oddly, for a lot of years. And then I think it was, God, I don't know, 10 years ago or 9 or 10 years ago, one of my sisters said to me, your art is your photography. And I never really looked at it that way. So that kind of just opened my mind to, I can be creative with art in a different kind of way than what it maybe we are traditionally thinking. So to wrap this piece up with now is the time to be creative. Now is the time to take that idea. If it comes to you, write it down. What I find myself doing is if I have an idea for something, whether it's a new product, whether it's a new formulation, whether it's something I want to get on Sunday morning and share with you, I've learned that if I don't write it down or I don't act upon it, mainly by writing it down if it's an idea of something that I definitely need to act on later, if I don't write it down, I lose it. And I will tell you all, I have these really powerful ideas and I think, oh, this is so amazing and so powerful. There's no way I'll forget this, right? And what happens is I forget it. So I'm telling you, when you write down an idea and make a point to say, okay, I'm going to do something with this tomorrow after work, or I need to go get the supplies to this so that I can do something, it will get your creative juices flowing, and it will bring peace and calmness and a realization of why you're here. And it might lead to something that's big and beautiful that you weren't expecting. So I would say whatever your interest is, what your interest is, and however you express your creativity, now is the time to do that. Now the final piece of this is really impactful. And now is the time to literally zoom out and look at the bigger picture. So you might have been watching a bunch of stuff, and you might have been reading a bunch of stuff about what's been happening in the world the last couple of years. And if the truth be told, a lot of this stuff has been happening behind the scenes for many, many years. A lot of this stuff is not new. It's just very much to the forefront right now. So because it's in your awareness, you can now look at this in a different way. You can look at it with a lot more clarity and a lot more perspective. But then what I think happens is we get caught down this place of only looking at this side. And I think it's really, really important to not only look at this side, but to look at this side. And then once you get all of the information, at least, as much, like, you could stay in a place of looking at information all day long and you would get nothing done. And you would feel super depressed, and all you'd want to do is just eat yourself silly, drink too much alcohol, and just numb out on TV, right? So that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, get as much information as you can. What I say is look at both sides of what's happening, or multiple sides. Then bring yourself to a center place of neutrality, okay? And then from there, zoom out. And one of my favorite meditations, I actually will envision myself up above my house where I live in Utah, up above my city where I live in Utah, Salt Lake City. And, and then I envision myself up above the state I live in, up above the country I live in. And then I take myself visually all the way up where I can actually envision myself above planet Earth. And I look at this beautiful, beautiful planet. And I envision all of the beautiful souls that are on this planet. And I know that there's so much love and joy and contentment down there. And where that's, where I am too. But I also know that there's a lot of angst and anxiety and uncertainty. And I think it's really important to zoom out and really take a look at the bigger picture and then bring yourself into a point of neutrality as you prepare, as you become creative, and as you approach every situation with unconditional love. And I think that's my biggest message today, is that now is the time. Now is always the perfect time. So I wish for you a life of preparation so that you can sleep with ease, live in your physical body with ease, have low anxiety, low stress, and at the end of the day, realize what a creative, powerful human soul you are. You are actually a soul experiencing this human body. And you hear about these near-death experiences where they always, when they come back, and I've read books and I've watched people give interviews, when they come back and they realize that we have this beautiful gift of this being alive and being able to live in such unconditional love with each other, and the anxiety that we put on the external stuff, we almost chuckle at it. In fact, I heard a really, I can't remember the name of this woman I was listening to. It was just a short little testimonial that I watched, and she talked about when she came back into her body. She was just like, wow, it feels so childish, the way that we don't realize the depth of our souls and the beauty of what we get to experience here. The only way our soul can experience this beautiful physical life is to have a physical body. So instead of spending all of our time worrying and numbing ourselves out to the beauty of it, now is the time to really recognize what we have, appreciate it, and start acting that way. So I send you a ton of love. I think this is something that I strive for on a regular basis, and it always makes me grateful that I get to bring these messages to you, because it cements them for me, and it reminds me of the things that are important. So thank you for being there. I never give a shameless plug for this YouTube channel, but I realize that if you give it a thumbs up and you comment on it, it actually gives it an algorithm that shows up in more people's feeds. So if that's something that, you don't mind doing, give it a thumbs up. That would be awesome. I guess the dislike button has been disabled, which I find very interesting, but you can tell me in the comments if you don't like it. Anyway, I love you guys tons. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful day, a beautiful week, and I will see you in the next one.